You can catch me on Spotify. Just type in The Undisputed Sports. All major platforms. You can just type it in. Type The Undisputed Sports, and you can listen if you missed the show or if you want to check it out. Now we're going to continue to get into our Micheal Jordan segment. Now, we was leaving off at 86 is when he lost in the first round to, like I said, a tough Boston Celtics team. 3 Hall of Famers, put up 63 points. In 87, he got even better. The Bulls finished second in their division. They had a record of 50 and 32. And this one, Jordan was getting noticed. This one, people knew that Jordan was on his way to be the best player in the NBA. That year, in 87-88, he won MVP of the league and Defensive Player of the Year. People underestimate Jordan's defense. Jordan was just as good offensively. It's just as good defensively. And not only that, he took the task on the premier players, on the team's best player. And if you talk trash, he took the challenge. That made him even matter. So that's what made him great, his defensive ability. And not only that, that year he won the MVP of the All-Star game, because that year the All-Star game was in Chicago. And that was that year he won the slam dunk contest against who? Dominique Wilkins, one of the best slam dunk contests it ever was in 88. In 87. That was the best. Younger kids, look it up. The 90s babies and the 2000 babies, if you want to see a real, true dunk contest besides the 2000 and last year's dunk contest, when I'm talking about a great head-to-head battle, look up the 1987 slam dunk contest. That was the greatest dunk contest, because them two was going at it. And Jordan won. Remember, that year, you know what I'm saying, they was coming off a great year in 86. Like I said, he won all that. And remember, 87 is when they drafted Scottie Pippen. That's when the Pippen and Jordan era began in 1987. And they defeated the Cavs in the first round of the playoffs. And they lost to the Detroit Pistons in 5 games in the second round. So 84 and 87, Jordan lost to the Pistons. That's what I'm saying. The Pistons owned him in the 80s, man. People don't realize that. So Jordan had to go through something. Jordan wasn't just this great, you know what I'm saying, basketball player who just went through everybody. No, he had to go through hell and back when it came to the Detroit Pistons. And after that year, that's when something big happened. And you probably didn't notice it until the 91 season. But that's when the Bulls traded Charles Oakley to the New York Knicks for Bill Cartwright. And that was actually a great trade, because they needed a big man. They needed a big guy, a skilled guy. Not saying that Oakley wasn't a good player, but Oakley was more of a tough pit bull dog. They needed a more big, skilled guy, and Bill Cartwright was the right pick for them. So that was really a good move by Jerry Krause, GM. And the 1988-89 season hurt my heart, especially if you're a Cleveland Cavaliers fan. Because this is what turned Jordan's season. This is what turned Jordan's career into Jordan. This is what made Jordan Jordan. Because after that, yeah, he went through the hurdle with the Pistons. But after that, people knew that he was the best player in the NBA. And remember, going into 88-89, it was 2 teams that I think that was on the rise. And we all know it was the Detroit Pistons and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And this is what turned Jordan's career around right here. Cleveland fans, you don't want to hear this. You don't want to hear this because it hurt my heart. But this is what turned Jordan's career around right here.
Micheal Jordan has won it for Chicago. The inbounds pass comes into Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! They win! Upset the Cleveland Cavaliers. Michael Jordan hits it at the foul line. 101-100.
That was a dagger. That was a dagger. That was a dagger. And I was only 2 years old at the time. And that shot right there elevated Jordan's career from him being all-star to a superstar, to the best player in the league. Because let me give you some facts to this 89 Cavs team. And to this day, I believe this Cavs team, if it wasn't for Michael Jordan, would have won the NBA championship that year. Don't underestimate that Cleveland Cavaliers team. That year, reporters picked the Cavs and the Cavs and for everybody. Jordan said they was gonna win in 4, but they won in 5. So that year, everybody had the Cavs winning that series. Everybody. Bulls reporters, Cavs reporters, everybody. Because that Cavs team was so freaking talented. It's just the only thing they didn't have was they didn't have Michael Jordan. Listen to what they had. Brad Daugherty, number 1 pick. You had 2 of the best defenders it is, Hot Rod Williams and Larry Nance. You had Ron Harper. And if Ron Harper wouldn't have hurt his knee and hurt his leg, Ron Harper was just as good as Michael Jordan. Trust and believe me, a young Ron Harper, I was heartbroken when the Cavs traded him. Ron Harper was a beast. And then you had Craig Elo. Then you had Mark Price. That was a tough team. A tough and scrappy team. The only thing they didn't have was physicality, and they didn't have Michael Jordan. So that 89 Cavs team was tough, but that was a dagger to us Cleveland fans, and that's just history. It's called the shot for a reason. And that's what turned Jordan's career around. And that's what made, and that's when you knew this Bulls team had something special. They had something special. They had something special. And let me tell you a little bit about Pippen, and we're going to continue with Pippen coming up our next segment. Without Pippen, there's no Jordan. Pippen was the most important player on this Bulls run. Trust and believe me. And people don't give Pippen his credit that he deserves. He was one of, if not the best defender, on-ball defender. Athletic. Can guard the rim. Take your best player out the game. When you need a play on a defensive end, he's there. But after that Cavs series, the Bulls went on and faced the Knicks, and they beat the Knicks. And this is when the Bulls and Pistons rivalry began. Because remember, in that 88 season, after they beat the Cavs, that 88-89 season, that year, remember, they like I said, they went on and beat New York, and they faced Detroit. Detroit was tough. Bill Laimbeer, John Sally, Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Dennis Rodman. They was tough, man. That was the bad boys for a reason. They was tough. And they played within the rules. And remember that 89 season, that's when they took on them in the Eastern Conference Finals. Jordan won the first 2 games in Detroit. People don't remember that. But then, Detroit had a rule where don't let him go baseline, make him go left, and when he go into the lane, we gonna rough him up. That was the Jordan rules. Don't let him go baseline. When he top of the key, make him go left to help him double. And when he go down the lane, we're going to make him pay. And from that point on, the Pistons went on and won that series, the last 4 games. And they went on and won the NBA championship against the Los Angeles Lakers in 89. Coming up next, we're going to continue to get into Jordan rivalry with the Detroit Pistons. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere here on the Disputed Sports.
Isn't it time smoking changed too? Meet Vuse Alto, a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. With long-lasting pods filled with liquid blended in the U.S., Vuse Alto delivers our highest-performing vapor yet. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Vuse, leading the way today, tomorrow, and the future. Underage sale prohibited.
Night Under Fire. John Force. Night Under Fire. Fireworks. The best in Ohio. Night Under Fire. A lot of fire. It's time for the 42nd Annual Kelly Night Under Fire. Saturday, August 10th at Summit Motorsports Park. Be awestruck by 6 fuel funny cars, including 16-time champ John Force. Experience the North American Jet Car Championship and feel the heat as Bob Moats attacks the racetrack. And that damn sign will it burn. Saturday, August 10th, the Kelly Night Under Fire. Tickets at summitmotorsportspark.com.
Welcome back to Disputed Sports, everybody. I hope everybody enjoying the show and getting some knowledge on how good Micheal Jordan really, really was. He was just an awesome and great player. And we gonna get into this. So after the 88-89 season, the Bulls lost to the Detroit Pistons. They end up losing in six games after Jordan and them stole the first 2 games. 89-90, the Bulls lost to the Detroit Pistons again in 7 games. Remember, that was the Scottie Pippen migraine game. I believe if Scottie Pippen wouldn't have had a migraine, I believe that the Bulls would have had a better shot of winning that series. And they took them to 7 games, but they ended up getting blown out. And that was the year Doug Collins was fired, and that was the era of Phil Jackson taking over. And that's when they invented the triangle offense. For me who don't know the triangle offense, it's passing. You put the ball in the best ball handler, you just pass. Continue to rotate. And at first Jordan had a problem with it, but then he acclimated himself into it, and it was one of the best things I ever had, because going into the 90-91 season. So after Jordan loses to the Detroit Pistons, Doug Collins was fired. This is the 2nd straight year Jordan pissed. It's the 2nd straight year they lost to the Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals. Like I said, Doug Collins was fired. Phil Jackson took over, and that's when they invented the triangle offense. And they acclimated it. And that year, in 91, Jordan averaged over 35 points a game in that offense. And not only that, it helped out his role players. And that's when Pippen was really Pippen, was that 91 season. He started to get better. He started to get acclimated to the league. He started adapting to the league, and then the rest was basically history. So 91 season, they goes on. Jordan is pissed, and remember, he knew that the Pistons was being physical, and what the Pistons want you to do is get under your skin and talk trash to you. So what did Jordan do? He put on a little bit more weight. He went from 200 pounds to 215. So get to the 91 Eastern Conference Finals against Detroit. They got bigger. They got physical with the Pistons. They stepped up to them, and they just dominated. 4 rip. And they couldn't get under the Bulls' skin, and the Bulls wasn't